my channel. I cannot believe it. I'm officially full term. That means I'm 37 weeks pregnant. Technically I have 3 weeks to go. Although I'm filming this at the end of being 37 weeks pregnant, I'm actually turning 38 weeks. But the reason I decided to film it at the end of the week is because we had a lot of scans, a lot of appointments, and a lot of things going on, and I thought that's probably the best way to give you guys an overall update. So let's get into it. So carrying on from my last week's update, I'm now going to be doing weekly updates, which is exciting because this really means that it's coming to the end, and I'm definitely excited. I'm definitely very exhausted, which is a different kind of exhausted. It's less of a like mentally fatigued thing. It's just an overall feeling of being tired. Like no matter the amount of sleep that I can get, or if I have a day at home where I'm not doing anything, like I'm just tired. Like I'm just finishing making a baby, and it definitely feels like the most draining part. It's different to the early first trimester sort of fatigue that I experienced. It's just on a whole new level, and I'm sure I'm not the only mum out there who's experiencing it, but those that are in that stage, I'm sure they can be like, yes sister, I know what you're talking about, because it's really different. Yeah, so everything is a lot harder, and it's just everything takes a lot more time because you are tired and you are big and slow, and it's just part of the course. Like you just go with it. If you did watch my last week's update, I'll have it linked for you up above. Basically we need to monitor a small baby, and to do that we have now got weekly obstetrician appointments. We do weekly CTG monitoring, which is where they put the 2 belly bands around and monitor his movements and his heartbeat, and if I'm having any contractions, which I am. And the next thing we do is also have weekly growth scans. So this week I was under the assumption that it was a normal growth scan, but apparently they need to have a little bit more than a week between to really look at his growth. So we had a scan that looked at just his fluid levels and the blood flow to him, and the blood flow in the umbilical cord and different things like that, and just checking the placenta and making sure that everything is still really healthy and is in the right range. In terms of that, the scan went really well. His fluid levels look great. He's getting plenty of oxygen, there's plenty of blood flow. There's no issues in that department. They couldn't tell us how big he is because, like I said, they do need to have, you know, some time between the scans. So next week, next Wednesday, when I'm 38 weeks, we'll be also having another proper full growth scan. So so that's that plan. In terms of the CTG monitoring, this actually took a little bit of time. We had to do it twice, so we were at the hospital for about 3.5 hours. It did take quite a while. So the first one that we did didn't really give them the results that they were looking for. So apparently they want to see their baby's heart rate go up and down and not really just stay sort of stagnate a little bit. So, and there wasn't a lot of movement as well, so they told me to go away, grab something to eat, go for a bit of a walk, come back, and they'll redo it. When we came back and got strapped up again, he was like a completely different baby. They were seeing all the little accelerations in his heart rate that they wanted to see. They wanted to see him move more, which he did do. So at the end of that, it all went really well. They were obviously also able to see what my little contractions are doing, so the Braxton Hicks contractions. They weren't painful. I've still been having period pain and back pain. I mean, that's nothing new. But those contractions weren't really painful. It wasn't like normal contractions. So just Braxton Hicks, which is still exciting. It's because everything is getting ready to go, basically. And then finally we had our OB appointment, which was, when was that? When did I have that this week? Thursday or Wednesday? Anyway, it was this week, and that went really well. I was anticipating this to be a more like intense sort of planning appointment, because I was under the assumption that this week we'd have that growth scan where we'd be able to see what percentile he was now in, but because we couldn't do that and we just looked at the fluid, I wasn't really, it didn't really go the way I assumed it was going to go. But basically it still went really well, given the fact that we can't tell his growth until next week. They're not going to induce me now. They're going to wait for those results and go from there. But this week we did really talk about more of, you know, what to expect if his growth doesn't progress. So if he stays at 12%, or in the 12th percentile, sorry, or it drops down to even less, the likelihood of that would be that I would definitely be induced probably after that appointment. I probably wouldn't make it to full term. And then there was the other side of it. It was like, if it does go well, then they'll probably let me go to my due date, but not further than that. I do feel like we've got some sort of direction, that everything is being monitored. He generally looks really fine. It's just, you know, next week I think will be the big deal when we get that growth scan. So I'm really looking forward to that for next week. But in terms of my OB appointment as well, the standard thing measures the belly, like your belly height, your uterus height. I'm back to measuring like week for week, so I'm now measuring 37 centimeters at 37 weeks. Blood pressure, it looks good. It's still low, but that's normal for me. That's not changed. So yeah, the only thing that was different at this appointment was that she didn't weigh me, and I feel like I've definitely put on a lot of weight this week as well. But I have no idea what I weigh, which is a bit of a shame because we've sort of tracked that the whole time. But apart from that, that's really it in terms of like baby's medical appointments and my appointments and different things like that. The only other bigger news is that we have finally put his little crib together. It's all set up, his little blanket, his mobile, his room is pretty much ready to go. The only thing that we haven't done is put up the wall decals and some photos. Speaking of which, at the appointment for the ultrasound, we got some really amazing 3D photos of him, so I will definitely be throwing them in now, or I probably should have mentioned that back when I was talking about my appointment, but either way I'll either throw them in here, or again, they'll, like always, they'll be on my blog 100%, which I'll leave the link for you guys down below. And I'll also post them on Twitter because I haven't done that yet, so they'll be on Twitter as well if you want to have a look. My hospital bag is all prepped and ready to go. The stuff sitting on the top is pretty much for my partner. I'm starting to get his stuff ready to go because who knows, we could have a baby sooner rather than later. That's it for my 37-week pregnancy update. As always, I'll finish with some belly shots, and I hope you have a great week, and I will see you at 38 weeks. Thanks guys. So this is my 37-week bump shots from the front.